Hi there, I'm Randall. I think this is my fourth video for ShutterRockUK. All the others have been on off-camera flash. This is to do with flash, but nothing to do with the actual shooting side of it. It's more to do with the reported problems with the Canon Speedlight 580EXii. I'm a Canon shooter. I've not had any problems with it, but I do use 5D Mark II bodies most of the time, and a new design, a new hot shoe, maybe kind of sorted it out. But anyway, the problem is that some photographers have reported that under some circumstances where they actually go to shoot an ETTL, the camera actually drops from ETTL mode into TTL mode. For those of you who don't know, TTL was basically an old film metering system, flash system, which basically dumped as much flash as the exposure needed into the system without any real complicated measurements. But it's resulting in massive overexposure of people's images, and some report as much as 4 to 5 stops, which, if you know anything about Photoshop, you can't even pull that back in RAW really. Okay. So I've reading a lot of reports on the internet, and there's guys out there stating that you should take the bottom of the foot of the flash off and retighten the cables and so on. I really don't recommend that. Okay, I've got a background in aircraft engineering. I know a little bit about engineering and quite a wealth of technical knowledge. And most people out there will know that inside the flash is a capacitor. And if you touch anything inside there, the capacitor doesn't dump its full load. Okay, you can get a nasty shock. And these 580s, they kick at a fair amount of joules, and I would have thought there's enough in there to maybe stop your heart, so I wouldn't be poking around in there with a Phillips screwdriver. So I'd ignore that advice from this guy. I think his name is Jimmy Shimmy, calls himself. He's a pro photographer in the States. I've done a little bit of research, and see, I own 3 580EX Mark IIs. Somebody somewhere on a thread I read mentioned pins. Now what they're talking about, let me just put this down, are the actual pins on the foot of the flash. I'll just pop up a photograph of a 580EX so you can see one. Okay, we're talking about the foot of the flash. It's this part here. Now, Canon, with all good intention, developed the 580EXii. It's supposed to be more powerful flash than the Mark I. It's got advanced ETTL2, which is even more complex in its calculations and dealing with flash. It takes in things such as reflective surfaces and so on. It's a great bit of kit. It's a really good tool. They developed this easy slide lock system, which is really fast, much quicker than messing around with a screw clamp. And they've also put a little rubber gaiter in here, which is supposed to improve the weather sealing. But gimmicks as far as I'm concerned. But I think the real problem stemmed from, actually, here's my dog. It's Chico. Good lad, sit down there. Really stemmed in Canon's desire to save money on R&D, research and development. Any manufacturer that takes a product from the drawing board or AutoCAD to a full manufacturing process is going to want to save money. Tooling is expensive, design is expensive, and testing is expensive. Now the 580 Mark I, as I said, had this locking clamp, but they also used, I believe, a short, rounded pin foot. But these pins on the bottom of the flash, one controls power to the flash, the other 4 basically data input-output devices. Canon haven't actually told anybody what each pin does. It's a closely guarded secret. But anyway, to save money, I think what they did, they took the foot off the old 580 Mark I and fitted it into the 580 Mark II. Now that was fine if they'd kept the clamp system, but they didn't. Now it's a great clamp, it works, it holds the flash securely on the unit, but it hasn't got the positive lockdown that the 580 Mark 1 has. And what's happening when photographers are out there and they turn, especially when they turn a camera into portrait mode, okay, you're getting a rotational force on the lower joint. It doesn't weigh a lot, but it's a long arm movement. And what's actually causing is the circuitry with the short pins to break away from the surface of the hot shoe and the flash. It's causing a short. And what that short is doing is basically dumping everything in the capacitor, okay, in the flash, okay, out to the Fresnel, and it's overexposing the shot. It's called a quench dump system, but I have to worry about that. Well, I've done a little bit of research. I've looked at my flashes, and I've realised I've got two different types. On one of my flashes, I've got a longer pin coming up, protruding through the foot. It's a slightly longer, even about 1/2 millimetre or so, 3/4 millimetre, but it's pointed. And obviously that's going to make a harder contact on the soft materials, soft metal surface of a hot shoe. Whereas my other flash have a rounder, softer pin, same as fitting in the camera right now. And that's a pre-mod version. So I'm going to show you a couple of photographs of that. I'm going to show you first of all the pre-mod, the round pin version, okay, which is, I think, is causing all the problems. So here it is. And there's the next photograph now is of what I think is the post-mod version. I've called a post-modification version. And these started appearing on the market about December 2009, January 2010. And say this has got the longer pin with the points on. So I call this the post-mod. Okay, so Canon obviously made some modifications quite secretly, semi-covertly. They never actually officially owned up to the fact that the 580 had problems. And to be quite honest, I think that's pretty low of them. They've got a loyal following within the world of photography. And I think they've got a right to basically, if they just put their hand up, being honest, it would be nice, you know. The problem I've got with them is that they will modify your flash for you. If you've got a pre-mod version and you send it to a Canon repair place, they'll change the foot and put the longer spikes on for you, onto the foot, and they'll charge you for it as well, because they haven't officially owned up to a design error. Well, what I like from you guys really is to check your flashes. If you are having a problem with ETTL, check the bottom of your shoes. Check whether you've got what I call a pre and post mod version. And if you have got the post mod version and you're still having problems with ETTL, then obviously I'm wrong. But I really don't think I am. I think that is the problem. But if you are, would you just let me know? And I'd like to know. I'd like to verify the facts, see if I've got my thinking hat on properly. Okay, so thanks very much. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something. I hope it's helped you out. Cheers.